What should an R-rated Scooby-Doo movie look like? This is something that has been brought up multiple times. The idea of an R-rated Scooby-Doo movie. And me being a Scooby-Doo fan, like a pretty big one. I mean, I have this giant Scooby-Doo plushie who's taller than my housemate. I thought I would go over what I think an R-rated Scooby-Doo movie should look like. So strap in and strap on and let's go for a ride. Yeah, I'm gonna go with that. Hey guys, Blazy here, and welcome to this video. So, as I said, I want to go over the idea of what a Scooby-Doo R-rated movie should look like, because it seems to be something people want for some reason. I myself don't think it should be. We almost got it with the James Gunn live-action movies. They were originally a lot more raunchy and did hit an R rating because of the mentions of oral stuff. So, let's first go over some of those ideas that were going to be in that movie. First of all, Velma was going to be a lesbian, but not just simply a lesbian, a raging lesbian, a very obvious lesbian, which I don't like. The idea of her being lesbian is fine, it's whatever. I do prefer her to be bisexual, as she has dated men before, which I know doesn't really mean anything, but it's more so she has shown interest in nerdy men, but also hot dudes. So I more lean into her being bisexual. I don't think Velma's personality works for her being an outright gay type. It just doesn't make sense to me. She's the quiet, sophisticated nerd who would blush and stutter her words if he called her cute, and then make an excuse to leave the room. That's kind of just how I see her. Maybe not quiet, but she is the type that would definitely blush. I don't see her being the type that would be like, yeah, well, you're cute too, Toots. Let's exchange phone numbers. I just don't see her like that. That's just not Velma to me. So I myself would probably make her bisexual, or if anything, pansexual. She doesn't care about the sex. I really don't feel that. I feel she's into the personality. She cares more about the person themselves. That to me sounds like Velma. Other stuff in the movie universe would have been making Daphne bisexual, and Fred and her have a friends with benefits thing happening. Daphne being bisexual, I've never really cared for. I am very much a Fred and Daphne stand. I think those two just work together like Spider-Man and Mary Jane and Lois and Clark and Fred and Daphne. It just works. Them being friends with benefits, like, that's already too sexual, and I don't think the gang needs to be sexual. I really don't. I don't like the idea of them being like, oh, they're typical teenagers kind of thing. I don't like that idea of them just going around and having sex with each other. It just doesn't work.
Looks like a disaster. Why wasn't I invited?
Like, just because a boy and a girl are friends, that means they're having sex? That's just how it comes across. It's really bad writing. Like, maybe it could work if they make them a couple at the end of the movie, but they're also going to make Daphne and Velma kiss. Now that's just a horny straight director right there. Let's make the girls kiss. Only if you make the boys kiss though, like, come on. But no, you want girl on girl action to film. If anyone's gay, it's Fred with his little ascot, but nope, only women can be gay in the gang. That's how it's always come across. It's always come off, no, Velma is definitely gay. Daphne is definitely bisexual or lesbian herself. Like, it's never Fred's gay, or Shaggy's gay, or Scooby-Doo's gay. It's always the girls. Because people have that imagination, they have that idea that they want to see Daphne and Velma kiss. That's all it is. It's all it is. It's just sexual fantasy. It's not that they want actual representation. It's that they just want to see two girls make out. That's how I've always seen it. Yeah, there's definitely people who queer code Velma, and that's perfectly fine, but to me, she's still just the nerdy chick who is into people's personality. Like, if she finds someone who's a very nerdy chick as well, who is on, like, the hotter side or something like that, I can see Velma being into that. That's who she is, compared to just being a raging lesbian who's into Daphne and they make out. It just doesn't work. It doesn't make sense. It's for horny teens, and it's dumb. It's dumb. Like, sorry for that rant, but it just doesn't sound genuine that they want gay representation. They just want to see Daphne and Velma make out.
Yes!
And that's just disgusting to me. I just don't like that. Is it disgusting because I'm gay or whatever? It's just no. I'm kind of bisexual. I'm kind of something. I don't know. But it's got nothing to do with that. It's got nothing to do with the idea of like seeing two girls making out, or just the idea of Velma and Daphne making out is kind of weird or something like that. No, it's just because it's just horny teens' fantasies of what they want to see. That's what I don't like about it. It's not good representation when that's all they want to do with these characters. I know that in like Crypto 2 or whatever, one of the later Scooby-Doo movies, they did make Velma a lesbian. And from what I've seen there, that does look like good representation because she's like a nerdy girl she's also into. And I haven't watched it, I don't know anything about it, but that looked like good representation there. But yeah, I just don't think, especially for the James Gunn movie, it would not be good representation of the characters and the LGBT. They would have also just made Shaggy a straight up stoner, which I never really liked the idea of. Like, you can be a stoner character without actually showing it, which Shaggy already does. Or, for example, Bill and Ted, two idiots that I absolutely love watching. I love the Bill and Ted movies. They come off as stoners, but we never see them do drugs, and that's what makes them great. It's not that they're stoners, it's just that that's their personality. They are very likable people. That's just how I see Shaggy. He's not a stoner, that's just his personality. Like, I'm not against him being so, but you know in these movies they would have showed it off so much that he keeps on smoking and keeps on talking about it, very much like a Seth Rogen kind of movie kind of thing. It's just all about drugs, and that's the issue there. I don't mind if they do it like once or something like that, but that's not what they would have done. And then they would have added in the sexual innuendos and sexual jokes and obviously drug jokes, as I mentioned, and all that. And to me, like, that would just make the movie terrible. I do not believe that you need sex and drugs to make an R-rated movie. If your movie is R-rated for those reasons, then I already know exactly what the movie is and what it will be, and I'm not interested in it at all. Those kind of movies are for teenagers, and they feel dated so quickly. It's basically Sausage Party. The idea of that was, haha, food have sex. Not to mention, that's just not the Scooby Gang. That just doesn't work for those characters. The idea of turning a kid's cartoon into an adult thing always translates into sexual jokes, racism, homophobia, missing characters, terrible writing, terrible everything. There's no heart or soul put into a project like that.
He's right, you know.
It's just, hey, what if we had Velma have sex with Daphne? Wouldn't that be a riot? What if we had Shaggy as a stoner and that's when Scooby talks? That's the only time Scooby talks, though. It's only when he's doing drugs. Other than that, he never talks. Wouldn't that be so hilarious? No. The show is called Scooby-Doo. I want to see Scooby-Doo and see him talking. Though the idea of Shaggy being stoned the entire movie and only he could talk as Scoob can kinda work. It could kind of work. I think that's more suited for like a short movie than a whole movie though. I think if anything, that kind of movie would only work if it's a Shaggy and Scooby movie and not the whole gang. It's kind of Shaggy and Scooby doing their thing and kind of eventually it's always, so then the characters are always talking to each other, but then you have like the police officers who come in and kind of just see this dude talking to his dog and the dog never responds back, it just barks or whatever, and they kind of just go along with it because they realize Shaggy's a stoner kind of thing. That could work, that could be fun, but it's everything else in the movie that they'll add sex and all that stuff, and that's where it will ruin it. So then, the question is, how would an R-rated Scooby-Doo movie work then, if I'm so against everything that makes an R-rated movie? It's actually quite simple, really. Make an R-rated movie that Mystery Inc. just so happened to be in. Don't make the Scooby Gang R-rated. Make everything around them R-rated. Like, you can still have Velma as a lesbian as long as you just don't make her sexual, because even if she's straight, she's not a sexual character. Basically, here's my idea that actually comes straight from an episode of a show, so that perfectly leads up to Scooby-Doo as well. So it's basically an R-rated version of a previous episode. It's called A Night of Fright Is No Delight. I really do love the old episode names, so they're really fun. Hi, so, future Blazy here. So, this episode I was going to talk about, A Night of Fright Is No Delight, or whatever it was called, yeah, so, I just watched the Scooby-Doo Supernatural episode. I've been watching Supernatural just to watch that episode, which is 13 seasons in. I've watched 13 seasons episode of Supernatural, which is hell. And I finally got to the Scooby-Doo episode, and Supernatural stole my idea.
A night of fright is no delight. What? That's the episode we're in.
It stole my idea. I did not know this beforehand. I swear, I did not know this. But the whole episode of the Scooby Natural episode is this idea of this episode and turning it into having characters not actually die and get hurt. They did it. They did what I was saying. I didn't know, I swear. I watched it just yesterday with my friend, and it was just like, wait, this episode, no. They did it. They did the same thing. It's not R-rated, so they could still do it, but basically just watch the Scooby-Doo Supernatural episode, and that's basically what I want for an R-rated movie. But I guess the live-action version of it, which I haven't done a live-action version of this episode, so I've done an M-rated kind of cartoon now, but yep. Anyway, that's it. Back to the video. It's about a colonel who leaves part of his fortune to Scooby-Doo, as Scooby-Doo saved him or something like that. I can't quite remember. It's been a while since I've seen the episode. But to get that fortune, there's one condition. He needs to spend the night in a haunted castle. Now, there are other people also there trying to stay the night that slowly go missing. That right there is the perfect idea for an R-rated setting that Scooby-Doo and the gang just so happen to be in. So instead of the other characters going missing, we have people being brutally murdered. So the R-rating is partially the gore. Just go full Saw movie in this, have people being skinned alive and ripped apart and so on, and so the gang have a mystery to solve that just so happen to be of actual murders. Which then you can have the twist of it being like actual monsters in the house, or even someone in a monster mask, basically Jigsaw with his like pig mask. So you can still do the traditional face reveal and shock at who it is doing it all, and so then it still feels like Scooby-Doo. And then if you want to add sex and drugs and sex into a movie, make that the other characters, not Scooby-Doo and so on. So you can have the traditional horror movie sex scenes, and then they get murdered during it. Like, you can have someone get high and just fake he's seeing monsters, and so just assume he's really high. Or he's just talking to Scooby, and he's just like, whoa, this dog can talk, kind of thing. But then, yeah, just assumes he's really high, and then bam, gets killed by a real monster. And then there's no sexual jokes between the gang, Shaggy isn't a stoner, but they're all still in the movie. But yeah, Scooby can also talk, and they are just the gang that's in an R-rated movie. Like, maybe you can have one of the gang swear as a big joke. Like, maybe you can have Scooby say it, but can cut away from it. Like, oh, fuck.
You flarking piece of moldy driftwood!
Something along those lines would be okay with me. Like, maybe you can have Scooby swear right at the end of the movie. Like, so it's like kind of built up kind of thing. And then right at the end, just, oh, fuck. That would be kind of hilarious. I just don't believe the gang itself needs to be R-rated, because then that's not the characters we know and love. That's some horny teen imagination fantasy-like version of them. To make them all just sex-crazed and druggies because they're teenagers, and that's all teenagers do, is just disgusting. It's dumb. I hate that idea. But, like, I think in short, to do a Scooby-Doo R-rated movie, They just simply need to be stuck in an R-rated movie, but still be the gang, and still have the gang be G or PG rated, just everything else is R-rated. But what about you guys? How do you think an R-rated movie should work? I'm very curious to see other people's opinions and what you also think of, like, my ideas. So yeah, let me know down in the comments below, and I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I know it's a bit dumb, I know it's just like a random kind of video, but sometimes that's what you gotta do. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video. Please do give it a like and subscribe to my channel, because I love you if you do. Hit that bell icon, and this fox says, be who you want to be. Alright guys, bye for now. Ew.